Welcome back to Talmudic Legal Logic. In this lecturette, we'll talk about inductive reasoning further. This time, we'll talk about how to generalize from several examples, a system called in the Talmud Binyan Av. Let's remember what we mean by inductive reasoning. By contrast to deduction, which looks at a rule and extracts examples from the rule, in inductive reasoning, we extract the rule from an example. We take an example and we generalize it, we broaden it to a rule. The challenge of inductive reasoning is that it's not as reliable as deduction. For example, if we have a specific manifestation that includes elements A, B, and C, and we induce a rule because of A, we might be wrong, because what if the relevant element in the example is B or C, in which case the rule can't be because of A. Let's take an example and you'll understand what I mean. The specific manifestation or example is this. This morning, I was stuck in traffic on the way to work. From this, I induce a more general rule. I should leave the house earlier every day. But my being stuck in traffic this morning was due to several factors. It had something to do with the time of leaving home, we'll call that element A. It also had to do with the fact that it rained in the morning, element B, and there were also road closures because of the San Francisco Marathon, element C. So if I try to wake up earlier tomorrow, according to the new rule that I've induced, only one of these factors is actually going to be present tomorrow, the time of leaving home. But maybe tomorrow I'll make it on time to work because there's no rain in the morning, or because the road closures that happen today will not happen tomorrow. So maybe I don't have to get up earlier every day. Maybe today was just a fluke. To overcome this problem, one Talmudic induction technique generalizes from several examples based on their shared salient features. This is called parent structure, or binyan av. This involves identifying two examples of specific manifestations, example one and example two, and looking at what kind of elements both of them share. In the example that you see in front of you, example one and example two share element A, but each of them has additional features. Example one also has elements B and C, and example two has elements D and E. We distill the salient element that is common to both examples, which is A, and we induce the rule because of A. Let's take a look at how this actually plays out in the Talmud. Bavli Bava Metzia 87a asks the question whether field workers may eat from the crops on the job. The rule that the Talmud induces is that the field workers, while they work, may eat anything off the field. But this rule doesn't appear in the Bible. Biblical statements only refer to two kinds of crops, specific crops, that the field workers are allowed to eat. They may eat grapes while they pick them, and they may eat wheat. From these two examples, the Talmud induced the rule that you may eat anything off the field. The way that they do it is by looking at the characteristics of both examples and seeing what they share. Grapes have several characteristics in biblical rules. One of them is, as we've just said, the biblical permission for field workers to harvest grapes and eat them. The other one is a biblical requirement called olelot, leaving clusters of grapes unpicked for the poor. Wheat also has several biblical characteristics. One of them is the biblical permission for field workers harvesting wheat to eat it. The other one is that whoever owns the dough made from the wheat is required to fulfill the commandment of challah. So, in this case, B is not a decisive factor because it's only true for grapes. D is not a decisive factor because it's only true for wheat. The salient feature is therefore A, which both cases share. And that is why we can deduce the general rule from the two particular cases. You may eat grapes, you may eat wheat, and therefore we generalize that you may eat anything off the field. The problem arises when the examples have more than one shared characteristic. Take a look at examples 1 and 2. These two examples share two elements, A and E. But example 1 also has element B, and example 2 has element D. We could induce a rule that is shared to both of them because of A, and we could also induce a rule that's shared to both of them because of E. In a case like this, you might need a third example that shares element A but lacks element E, or vice versa. If you found, for example, another little case, another biblical case, example 3, which has elements A, F, and G, then you would know for sure that the relevant element is A, and then you would feel more comfortable about inducing the rule.